Hello and welcome. My name is Jason Uberser, and this is my episode recap for episode 18 of Fate Stay Night's Unlimited Blade Works that is titled The Beginning of the Circle. And definitely I would say this is probably one of my favorite episodes of this series so far. I'm pretty sure it's like a 24 episode series, and so definitely a lot more episodes to come, but so far this is probably one of my favorite episodes in terms of Saber moments, just in terms of action sequences, mostly action sequences here for Saber. Lots more backstory on Archer and Shiro we get here, and a little bit more of sort of Rin doing her monologue thing, sort of every character sort of piecing things together between Archer and Shiro. And they don't exactly say it right away, but they do suggest different many things there. I guess that later on, but still, really great episode, visually stunning, especially in the beginning parts where Archer and Saber do go at it a little bit, especially when Saber goes into full power, 100% of her power essentially, and just goes like a badass, and visually stunning as usual for this series, and definitely, again, one of my favorite episodes so far. But the episode itself, it starts off with Archer pretty much stating pretty much his ideology, essentially, how he has no pride as a hero, like he was a fool who only has regrets in his life, and how he probably should have never been a hero in the first place. And so Saber is determined to protect Shiro, even though like Shiro's no longer her master now because of the whole thing with Caster and what she did there. But Saber's not really strong enough to take on Archer because of the fatigue that she's dealt with, and how Shiro is also under fatigue as well, and probably not the strongest master out there. Well, probably he isn't the strongest master to be a servant to Saber, and so that's when Archer pretty much sort of puts aside Shiro. Even Shiro tries to jump in as well, but he's just pushing everyone aside. I mean, Saber can't even change into her armor or even conceal her sword as well. That's when Rin and Saber they make a pact as a master and a servant, and it's a pretty cool scene here when Archer's pretty much going to take out Shiro. That's when Rin starts making up the chant, saying all the things you're supposed to say in terms of summoning up your servants or making a pact with the servants, and they run up, they touch each other, and their hands touch each other to fully make up that master servant pact. You see the Saber crest on her hand as well. It's such a cool scene here. Really awesome. Probably one of the best moments of the episode, I would say, with that whole moment of Rin and Saber pretty much fully establishing their master-servant relationship. And of course, with Rin and her mana power that she has, probably one of the stronger masters, I would say, without the other people that are left. Now Saber is at full power, at full 100%. She has the armor, all the visuals, and all the sparks everywhere and whatnot there. Saber just goes at Archer for full power, has him on the ropes. She doesn't want to kill him right away. She's trying to, talk him out of it. However, Archer, his wish is to kill Shiro. He has no desire for the Holy Grail War, and probably has only 2 days to do so because he is no longer bound by this world anymore with a master behind him. But that's when Archer and Saber sort of have a discussion about their wishes for the Holy Grail War, and how Archer wants to kill Shiro, but Saber, we get a look into sort of her past life. We see a bunch of swords and bodies all around her, holding down herself with a sword, and possibly having some regrets in her home life as well, and probably wants to make a wish to probably reverse some things that happen in her life, and whether that's a good thing or not, that's something Fate Zero tackles a lot. And again, if you haven't seen Fate Zero just yet, I do recommend that series, because it does give you a lot more into Saber and her backstory as well, and her wishes for the Holy Grail. But that's when Archer pretty much puts out the whole guns, just throws in the kitchen sink with his prayer, I am the bone of my sword, and Unlimited Blade Works at the end. And that's when he sends everyone to a different dimension, pretty much unleashing his noble phantasm, his true noble phantasm, as a reality marble. And this is where he can reproduce and store any sort of weapons that he sees, sort of what, the whole trace on thing as well, sort of making projection magic out of different weapons that he sees. And we see that Archer was once a mage before he was a heroic spirit. He was neither a swordsman nor a bowman as well, and so that's how he explains his powers in a way, and how he can make so many weapons out of thin air, essentially. And that's when Archer pretty much sets his sights on everyone, having a barrage of swords behind him, trying to take out our trio here. But that's when Shiro jumps in, tries to copy the swords as they're coming, but something happens, they get knocked out. I guess Archer used up too much of his power, but that's when he kidnaps Rin, and Shiro then invites Archer to what is now an abandoned castle with Ilya out now. So he invites him over to that area there, and everyone's sort of reacting to what happens after that, seeing the reality marble, knowing a little bit more about Archer, and sort of Shiro and Archer having one last battle, it looks like here, in one big spaghetti western face-off, if you will. That's when we jump into a sort of a monologue that Rin has. We've seen this before, but now we're getting a full-on monologue here where sort of Rin is sort of looking back, I guess, onto Archer and his life, how she probably should have figured this out before, and who he actually was, and how the reality marble that he was given was a gift for what he has done, how he sort of lived a lie, essentially, how he had to be happy because he got this gift, but, he sees everything around him on how everyone's living their happy lives, but still he's always betrayed by his own ideals. He was exploited as a guardian even after death. How servants can be summoned from the past, the present, and the future, and it doesn't matter where that person lived. He was resurrected essentially in a city where he once lived before, and how she already knows what's going to happen to the man who lives his life for others. And we get a glimpse of Shiro, we get a glimpse of Sakura, and all the other people around Fuyuki City, so alluding to the fact that Archer and Shiro are basically the same person, and how Archer is probably the future version of Shiro, or a different, reincarnation of him, and how they pretty much are the same person, essentially. How he volunteered to sacrifice his own afterlife, but he could save others as a heroic spirit as well, but he sold his peace where he could have found in death, and he has been constantly betrayed. We see all these kings and whatever, all these armies, and death, blood everywhere. He was betrayed even by his own ideal, and how he wanted to save as many people as they can, but he was never able to do so because humanity is always destructive. There's always war over these thousands of years, and how it was never going to be done no matter what. So they never actually say this, but they do allude to the fact that Archer and Shiro are basically the same person, and how Archer is probably a past life version or a future self of Shiro, and how Shiro at one point in his life became a heroic spirit in order to save as many people as he can over time throughout the years. As a servant, he can do so. However, he's never been able to do so, obviously, because that's logically impossible, and that's sort of a cool resolution that we see here between these two characters, and why they keep clashing with each other, and probably why Archer wants to kill Shiro, perhaps. Archer does say he wants to kill Shiro for being so naive in his own ideals, but Rin thinks that's sweet. She would like to see more people like that in this world, doesn't really see anything wrong with that, and she makes a little quote here saying that my body is made of swords, sort of an incantation that Archer said after he became a heroic spirit. And while all that's going on, before they get into a real discussion, Shinji and Gilgamesh come in for Rin, pretty much as a vessel, perhaps, for the Greater Grail. But Gilgamesh and Shinji kind of let him off the loose because he's probably going to give away Rin anyway after he fights off with Shiro. But as Archer is walking away, it's pretty interesting with Gilgamesh how he pretty much says faker towards Archer. And so maybe Archer has some other plans going on. Maybe he has something more ahead for Shiro and Rin and everyone else in the Holy Grail War, perhaps. And so it's pretty interesting to check that out. Gilgamesh didn't even do anything about it. He probably just wants to see what's going to happen next, sort of based on his character, seeing all this destruction and whatnot here. And so, very curious line there that Gilgamesh dropped. But the episode ends off with Shiro pretty much volunteering to take on Archer on his own because he actually knows who he is. He made that realization himself, and he has to deal with him himself. And you have Lancer tagging along as well. And so looks like this is going to be a lead up into the greater final battle here with Lancer, Archer, Saber, and Gilgamesh as well. I don't know about Assassin, but still I don't know if he's going to be playing any parts in this whole battle here. But still, it's going to be a really big battle coming up for episode 19, and it's going to be really fun to watch. So that's it for my episode recap for episode 18 of Fate Stay Night's Unlimited Blade Works that is titled The Beginning of the Circle. And for rating, I'm probably going to give this episode a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed this episode for the beginning action sequences between Saber and Archer. Definitely really fun to watch there. We have some more realizations between Archer and his character's background and also his relation to Shiro and probably why he wants to kill him. And so lots of interesting realizations, lots of cool visuals, especially in the reality marble inside Archer's little dimension we see. And so again, the visuals, the contents of what we get in the backstories of our characters, really fun to watch. Action sequences, I mentioned in my last episode recap video how we're kind of overdue for more Saber moments, and we got a lot more Saber moments, especially in the first half of the episode. And so that was really fun to watch, and it was really well worth the wait. But still, don't forget about your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below on episode 18. We'll really like to hear what you guys like to think. What are your predictions for the next upcoming episode, especially episode 19 on the big battle? Probably it's going to come up. Perhaps we'll get any more backstory. We're getting really close to the end of the whole series, and so I'm really curious to how this is going to end. What are your predictions for that? We'd really like to hear what you guys have to think. So again, put it in the comment section down below. But thank you for watching this video. Hope you guys have a nice day. Bye bye.